then it's answer time. There is a total of 7 questions, so I'll try to be a little bit more specific. So let's begin. Victor Fiocti-Stuff says, what's your favorite soundtrack? What game? It's the Jet for Gemini soundtrack. That's a game that I replay every so often, along with other games like Majora's Mask or Sunset Riders. And I didn't get to appreciate the full soundtrack till I get older. But Jet for Gemini itself is a very good game for the N64, and it did not have a legacy as big as other Rareware games, but it's still a very good classic, and I think every gamer should try. Maybe you'll like it. The soundtrack itself is very cinematic, can sound kind of like Star Wars, but with other elements in it. So basically it. My favorite song from the soundtrack itself will be Water Ring and H-Bomb. Christian Richardson says, what is your favorite ice cream flavor? Well, I tried vanilla with cookies, which is good, but I actually don't like ice cream very much. But it is because I do not tolerate too much sweet food, unless the sweet is much less intense. It kind of depends. So it means that I usually don't eat things like chocolate, candies, or cakes. Killer Boy Advance says, who is your main influence among the BG composer, among the mainstream music, and what are your plans for the future? Creating original song, original music for BG in music. Congrats for the first 1,000. Thank you so much, Killer Boy. Among the BG composers, I could mention many. I just cannot mention one in specific. But, well, my first influence was Koji Kondo. Kind of predictable, but there have been others that have influenced my way of composing. So, the most notable, so I can summarize this, will be Robin Billman, Koji Kondo, David Wise, Ippo Yamada, Motoi Sakuraba, and Kinoyo Yamashita. And mainstream music, well, Iron Maiden got me into this. But to be more specific, the first thing that I actually listened as band or anything specific was Dimmu Borgir, which is black metal. And there are many bands that I have listened from mainstream, like Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, Judas Priest, The Offspring, and so goes on. For original songs, I do plan to do more original music. I used to compose a lot before I started this channel. Most of this only exists in MIDI or guitar profiles, and I plan to release them eventually. And for original music for video game, actually I have dream of making a complete soundtrack for games, for other games, or if I get to make a game myself. But actually I have the opportunity once, but the project only remained as an idea and never came up. But for the moment I could say that it's just a dream, but I hope that one day I could try to compose music for video games. And personally I would prefer that if that moment comes, I would like to have more experience. Jose Bordelon says, can you do Despacito? Yes. Mirror Assistant says, favorite TV shows or video games? How old are you? Let's summarize. Well, Yu Yu Hakusho was my favorite thing as a child and teenager, and I like it almost all of Cartoon Network's 90 shows, almost, and all Dragon Ball, except GT. And well, I like it over the Golden Wall. I think was one of the best shows of Cartoon Network. And right now I'm watching OKKO, Let's Be Hero, and Steven Universe. In video games, my favorites are Jet for Gemini, Majora's Mask, Sunset Riders, Super Mario World, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, and Mega Man Zero 2. Those are the games that I have most replayed a lot. And I'm 24 years old. Piano Game Night says, who or what inspired you to pick up the guitar and play? Well, that's very complex, and here it is. Long story short, back when Guitar Hero was a thing, there started to appear a lot of music stores near my home. A lot of them, but in today they are all closed. But anyway, I started to not notice them, and I was always curious about them. I didn't know anything about music. There are no musicians in my family, but it kind of caught my attention, and one day I simply go in one of the stores, and eventually I ended up getting an acoustic guitar and an electric one too. But then my family considered music to be a too much expensive hobby. So I started learning through internet videos and guitar tabs, especially the ones from ultimateguitar.com and gametabs.net. So I've been watching music cover videos on YouTube since back then, and I always liked them. I used to learn to play, kind of like mimic them. Through observation, I've been learning, also tabs. And it was kind of like a curiosity, is something like inspiration, but it kind of awakened something in me. It made me want to try to learn the popular songs, mainstream music that I knew, also video game music. But later on, when I saw CS Guitar 89 covers, my mind was blown away, and I got obsessed with the idea of music covers. And eventually I started to find out about other channels. For example, the first one that I met were Family Jules 7X, not 7X anymore, Leonard Alsing, Sonje, previously Sonje Lerbour, London GP, and so much more came with the time. And basically that's and last but not least, Scarlet Devil 02 says, why melee players do not use deodorant? Well, I don't know. Never being on a melee tournament in real life, but I asked a friend about it, and he told me that's unusual in the player base, so I don't know. And those were all the questions. Thank you very much. Also, everyone who's been supporting me since the start, or if you're new, thanks you so much, and I hope you enjoy this. It was pretty fun to do, and I hope I can do this another one in the future or something like that. And that's it.